Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 700th edition of the Feuerstein's Fire American Soccer Show. I'm your host, Daniel Feuerstein. I'll give you American perspective of our clubs, leagues, players, national team, and other fabulous moments. Get your daily reading from me and other writers over at Beyond the 90, at beyondthe90.substack.com, and of course, locally, New York Soccer at baddogsports.com. Come on in. The chat room is open on YouTube. If you have a question for me, I'll try to answer it to the best of my abilities. And as we are getting closer to the MLS Cup final, there's something else we're getting closer to as well. The FIFA World Cup draw. The big draw that we will see at this point in time, 42 nations, along with others from Europe who will be going after each other in the playoffs for 4 spots, and then the intercontinental playoffs for the last 2 spots from 5 of the 6 confederations that they will be battling each other for those 2 spots, and it should be exciting, and it should be a lot of fun. You know, what an opportunity this is for everyone here in the United States. Now, obviously, Canada and Mexico will be our fellow host nations as well, the tri-hosts, the northern zone of CONCACAF. And when you look at the amount of teams that are going to be in this World Cup, and, you know, just to show you all, I have my draw sheet ready to go, as you can see. That's right. This is my own. I make my own draw sheets, especially for the World Cup. I've been doing it for a very, very long time. And it's just been absolutely awesome. Awesome when we get to this level of international football, soccer, where we are ready to go. And we are ready to see who will face whom in the big, big dance. Now, they claim it is the, they claim, you know, it's the NCAA Final Four. Well, in college basketball, yes, that's true. But in reality, this is the big dance. This is the big dance for the world. And that means for the world that they are going to be a part of this and enjoying what we'll be watching and witnessing moving forward. We're going to see these nations from CONCACAF. We are going to see these nations from Africa, CAF, Asia, AFC. CONMEBOL, of course, that's South America, Europe, UEFA, and the Oceania Islands, the Pacific Islands. We're going to see New Zealand, and we're going to maybe, you never know, in the Intercontinental Playoff, we could see New Caledonia somehow edge their way to make it to the FIFA World Cup. Is a possibility. And until we get there, and we find a way to see who will make it to the big dance, it's going to be exciting, and it's going to be a lot of fun. You know, before I even got into the whole mechanisms of the World Cup, the whole situations of what has to happen to be in this World Cup. You know, I go back to 1994 and I find out that the USA was the host nation. And it was great. And of course, you know, they had their run, unfortunately lost it in the round of 16 to Brazil. And then after 94 came France of 1998. Now, I thought back in the day And this is how much of I was a newbie to international football. Club football, I kind of understood because of those days of the North American Soccer League. And then, of course, when Major League Soccer finally was born in 1996, I knew a lot about club soccer. What I did not know at the time was the international section of it. And when I finally got into the qualifications of these games, I got on it late. And that was in the 1997 final round of qualifying. At that time, I had no idea the levels of qualification that certain clubs, or excuse me, certain national teams had to go through within their confederation to qualify for the World Cup. I thought it was automatically handed at that time. And look, then I was a novice, a complete and utter novice when it comes to the international game. And then after France of 1998, and unfortunately our men's national team went 3-and-out, poor games, poor performance, especially losing to Iran. I'll never forget that one. That was a real bad loss. But, I said to myself, I have to be better with my knowledge of the international game. I have to be better at how I learn about what I need to do to be knowledgeable, to know what I'm talking about, and the situation that the entire setup is and has been for a long, long time. And that's when I started learning about the Gold Cup in CONCACAF. That's when I started learning about the UEFA Cup, the Euro Cup. Then later on, you find out about the Copa America in South America, and then of course Asian Cup, the African Cup of Nations, and of course the Oceania Cup. And when you learn more about the different mechanisms of this sport, not only club-wise, but international-wise for the national teams, then you understand what the situations are. You understand now what I needed to do to put my knowledge to the test. And so from that point on, I knew what to say. I knew what was going on. And then you find out how the road to qualifying for the World Cup, that to me is something special, because everybody's playing on the same international dates when it's their turn to play. Obviously for Europe and South America, whenever their dates are ready to go, obviously in South America, it's like nonstop. They just go out and play right away. As soon as the last World Cup ends, the new cycle begins in the following season, and then off they go into basically killing each other, figuratively, killing each other to gain 3 points to go to the next World Cup. Everyone else, it's a friendly. Everyone else, now it's either, now it's either these Nations League tournaments that doubles as qualification for the Euro Cup in Europe with the UEFA Nations League, and then of course CONCACAF's Nations League. They're continuing to qualify for the CONCACAF Gold Cup. And then when you have those dates for the World Cup qualification after the European Cups are done and after the CONCACAF Gold Cup is done, then you move on to the next round. The same thing with Africa. They have to spread it out. can't just have it within a certain calendar year, or else we're never going to get anything done. You might as well just shorten everything. And so to be ready for something this spectacular, for something this wonderful, as we, get into the spirit of World Cup qualifying. That's what I love about international soccer, international football. You get to share it with the rest of the world, depending on what round and what level these games are currently at. Because this is the fun stuff. This is the fun stuff that we cannot wait for. And that's why I love going, like I said, I love talking about this game. I love having a conversation with anybody and everybody. And there'll be debates and there'll be arguments, but it won't be, too serious. But this is why I love doing this stuff. This is why every 4-year cycle, we get to a qualification draw for all of the confederations. And when they're done, I just love setting it up. And I loved it when FIFA did it all in one day. Now, all the confederations are doing it themselves. I think that it loses a little bit of its luster, but you know what, though? Look, they're doing it differently now, and to each their own. Obviously, this is because of the what happened with the COVID, the COVID situation. But personally, this is fine. I don't mind. And then I can go ahead and find that pocket of immigrants, shall we say? If there's this Nigerian couple or Nigerian neighborhood or a Haitian neighborhood or South American neighborhood. I know a couple of Canadians, a couple of Mexicans. We can have a conversation, and Asians, whoever it is, I can have a conversation with anybody because I love talking about the game. And so once again, when it's coming next Friday after the Thanksgiving weekend, this coming next Friday, I should say next Friday, December the 5th, at noon Eastern time on Fox Sports, on Spanish language channel, NBC's Telemundo, the FIFA World Cup draw will happen. Noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. That's when we get our pads, our pencils, our pens, or if you want to be like me and you just want to draw your own your own draw paper for all the groups ready to go. This is what this is right here. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to have some fun. And I am excited to see who will be in the draw for the US, for Canada, and for Mexico. And it should be exciting and it should be a lot of fun. And I cannot wait till we get to next Friday, December the 5th, from the Kennedy Center of the Performing Arts in our nation's capital in Washington, D.C. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be a lot of fun. Well, let me tell you about this segment's sponsor. It's Dino Luzzi Energy Drink. When I need that extra kick to power through match analysis and late-night transfer rumors, there's only one drink that delivers authentic Italian energy. Dino Luzzi, crafted in Italy with the same passion I bring to this show, because real energy comes from real ingredients, just like real soccer talk comes from real insiders. Ladies and gentlemen, as we're going to review these games of the conference semifinals of the 2025 MLS Playoffs, joining me right now, a very happy camper, and at the same time, he's getting ready to host a big conference final because it will be Inter Miami hosting New York City FC, but we're going to talk about their match on the road, knocking off FC Cincinnati from Futbol Miami TV. The one and only Pieter Brown joining me tonight. Pieter, welcome back. I have to be honest with you. This was a clean game. I was expecting a couple of rough moments here and there, maybe a couple of pushing and shoving, yellow cards thrown around. This was actually a clean game.
Yeah, I was nervous going into this game. I mean, let's be, honest. I kind of forecast earlier in the season that we would only get as far as that game, and that would be the end of our season based on our defensive problems that we've had all year. So, I mean, I was scared going into this game. I didn't have the bravado that a lot of people you would expect from people from Miami when you have Messi on your team and all that kind of stuff. But it was impressive. But can't take it away from Cincinnati. They had their chances. They just didn't put them away in the first half. And then the second half was just, a masterclass from the team. It was clean. It was beautiful. And right now, I think most of us down here, those worries, those fears that we may have had making it to the next round are gone. I think we're going to MLS Cup at this point. We're done.
It feels like it, to be honest with you. I mean, it's just amazing to watch how in that first half, Miami gets that one chance from Messi. Who else but Messi? And then you think to yourself, Cincinnati has to come back somehow. And, it just felt, did you feel maybe Cincinnati, maybe a little lethargic coming out of the gate, or just bad luck?
Yeah, it's hard to tell because they do have heavy hitters up top that should be able to, really threaten our goalkeeper. I mean, our keeper, Rocco, is okay, but you could definitely score on him. I mean, we don't have a lot of clean sheets this week. I didn't expect a clean sheet. So, yeah, I expected way more out of their offense. You've got quality players with Cincinnati. The question is, were they starstruck? They shouldn't be, but at this point, I mean, Messi's been in the league for a while now, so nobody should be starstruck. But it is weird because I think the playbook's out there on how to beat Miami. I mean, you pressure, high press, and pressure us, and we make mistakes, and you can, our defense is not very good, and so you could definitely get clear opportunities on goal, and quite often put a bunch of them away. They didn't do that, so it is strange. I don't know if it's being lethargic. That's a hard word, but something was wrong. Something was off.
Yeah, it really was, because I was expecting Denki to come out of nowhere and just, dominate. And, Aurelian has always been a thorn in the side on any club that faces Cincinnati. Just, to me, it just felt weird. But look, give credit to what Inter Miami did. Had the game plan. They executed it perfectly. And, big moment there in the second half to get 3 goals in the second half in Cincinnati. And, some would say, well, playing at TQL Stadium is a house of horrors. I still kind of go back to the 2023 semifinals of the Open Cup. Down 2-0, Messi bringing them back, leveling it with 2 great assists to Leo Campagna, who scored both goals. Then they scored to make it 3-2 in extra time. And Cincinnati scores to make it 3-3. And then you win it in the shootout to go to the final. I mean, to me, it just feels like, Miami can handle anything that's not the regular season in Cincinnati.
All right. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, it's an impressive stadium. So, and that place did definitely look like it was rocking. But look, we have so much experience on this team that shouldn't phase them, and it didn't. But let's not, if the second half basically wouldn't happen the way it did if Suarez was playing. So I think that's the biggest story in this game, is that Mascherano had the guts, the fortitude, all the words, I mean, I'm trying not to say, to bench Suarez. And, at the end of the day, we got to thank the MLS disciplinary committee for, forcing him out of the previous game, because that showed, hey, look, this team without him has got speed. They are a different team. And so then, but all the interviews leading up to this game gave me, at least, the impression that Mascherano was definitely going to play Suarez. I mean, he wasn't going to sit Suarez if he has him available. And he did. And that was huge coaching move. That is the biggest coaching move this guy has made. We've criticized him a lot this year. And really, I mean, he game planned it perfectly. And so when you have Silvetti and you have Allende on both sides and Messi kind of playing that false nine or whatever, and those guys streaking up, they got the speed that could stretch the field in ways that Suarez can't. And Suarez has had a good year, but it's not the Suarez of old, right? So he's done a lot more assists, but we would not have played we may have still beat Cincinnati. It's possible. Suarez, it doesn't mean we're going to lose because Suarez is in the game, but I don't think it's 4-0.
No, I agree with you. And I think, look, as well as I do, Luis Suarez is still a football legend, without a doubt. But the negative side that will always get him is his antics, whether it's biting the opponent on the shoulders, whether it's basically running to the opposition's technical area to shove the head coach. The way he acts up on the pitch sometimes. Look, he deserves whatever plaudits he gets, but he just acts so immature sometimes. It's a detriment. I think Mascherano finally recognized it.
I don't think it's that. I don't think Mascherano would bench him because of his antics. That drives everybody else crazy. I think it solely was because he saw that the team played better. Their defense was better because, when you have Messi and Suarez on the field, that's two players that don't defend. And when Suarez is not playing, well, that's only one player not defending because, Allende and Silvetti have the legs to come back, to track back that Suarez doesn't have. So, and here's the thing is Suarez, hats off to him. I don't know if you saw that little clip during the game of him getting up and doing a little coaching. He was coaching up Falcone, our defender. I'm guessing he's telling him what he's seeing coming at Packers. So it was that I thought that was pretty mature of him, which is not a word we use very often with Suarez, is maturity. And so it was pretty mature of him to basically take the fact that he is being benched, but also using his experience to help his team in any way possible. And so coaching up the team and being very, very engaged was impressive. And I'm not trying to be a Suarez apologist. I hate his antics, but I don't think that played a part at all in him being benched this game. The real question is, does he play against New York? Which I would hope the answer is no. I would hope Mascherano plays with a hot hand and continues with what he's got going, but you never know.
Look, I think in reality, I think Suarez's time is over. I think that, he's done enough already. He's been with Messi at Barcelona. He's done enough playing for Uruguay. He's done enough in the club game. I just think it's time for him to just basically, ride off into the sunset. And if coaching is in his future, then I say just go for it. Go for coaching. Go for a coaching license. Why not? Acquire something for South America. Acquire something from CONMEBOL or even CONCACAF or even UEFA, whoever you want to get. Just go out there and, make your move. If he wants to make the move into the coaching ranks, then go for it. I have, you can still, like you said, he was out there helping out with tactics on the bench with the defense. So maybe there is life after being a player.
Yeah, and two things. One, he has started a team. Him and Messi own a team in lower division Uruguay. So he can go coach his own team if he wants. Yeah. But just the funny thing is, how many red cards as a coach would he get? I mean, as fiery as he is, imagine him on the sideline chewing the ear off, literally and figuratively, of the fourth referee. I mean, he would just be thrown out constantly. It would be very entertaining.
Mm-hmm. It really would be. What else I wanted to ask you? What's your thoughts about, Tata Martino now returning to the coaching sidelines, and he's going to Atlanta? Did you feel maybe he should have came back to Miami?
Well, I don't think that was ever going to happen. I don't know why. I don't know. I've never taken back an ex-girlfriend. Right? When I break up permanently. And so I kind of feel that way, that maybe the team feels the same way. Mm-hmm. We're not going to look back. Mm-hmm. However, I don't think he should have ever been fired, because this whole, walking away for personal reasons, baloney. It was a mutual agreement, and at least from my opinion. And so I don't think he should have ever been let go. Now, of course, Mascherano's getting all these plaudits because he's now been able to do what Tata wasn't able to do and get the team to that next level. I think given time, Tata would, or given this team, Tata could have potentially done the same thing. I think it's a great move by Atlanta. I think Tata is a quality coach. I know sometimes, even when he was our coach, we had issues with him. I don't think you're ever going to be completely happy with your coach, ever. We're all armchair analysts. We're going to question the substitutes. We're going to question the tactics all the time. But I think he's a quality coach. He's a proven winner. He knows the league. So will he all of a sudden make Atlanta an MLS Cup champion again? I don't know, but I think he will definitely improve the team, get them out of kind of the slump that they're in.
Yeah, no, agreed.
Him and Chris Henderson together. How about that?
Yeah, who would have thought it? I wouldn't have. And so, how many more days or how many more months left can you say goodbye to Chase Stadium and hello to Freedom Park?
So, we do these game day vlogs on our channel, and people seem to like them from outside the area, especially. And every game day vlog, and the last several, it's like, well, this is the last time we're going to be in this stadium. This is the last time. And we're continuing to say that. So now I've got this weird feeling that the last time is going to be MLS Cup. Now, of course, anything can happen. New York could upset us, of course. But right now, I think we're all feeling super confident. And what a better way to send out this stadium to pasture than hosting an MLS Cup and then hopefully, hoisting a trophy in that stadium. So it's been a good stadium, but it's funny to think that a temporary stadium, because it is a very nice temporary stadium, but it's technically a temporary stadium, will host an MLS Cup game is kind of funny.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
It's hilarious. But still, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been going to a stadium on those grounds since the 70s. So it definitely means a lot to me. I mean, I didn't go there every game in the 70s, but I would go to at least a couple games every year, going to see the Fort Lauderdale Strikers. Now the stadium's in a slightly different orientation. It's technically a different stadium, but on that land, saw the Miami Fusion play there, being the best team in the league at that time, winning the Supporter Shield and then also going out of business. So I've seen so many great experiences at that stadium. Luckily, they're not tearing the stadium down. It'll still be there. It'll be the home for the 2 team and potentially maybe someday a women's team. That's always been talked about as possibility. So, and I'm sure high schools will use it as well. So, it won't die, but it may be very rare. Maybe very rare occasions that we actually go there to watch a football match.
No, absolutely. And look, I was there before the renovation. I've been there maybe once or twice when it was Lockhart on one side of the road, and on the other side was the minor league baseball stadium, because at the time it was the spring training home of the New York Yankees. Then I think Baltimore Orioles had it for a time before they left. And they're now I think they are in, not Sarasota, but they're somewhere in the western side of Florida. That I know. I forget the name where they are, but yeah, I mean, it's a nice little facility over there.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I saw the Strikers play on that baseball field, like on the outer fields. They had all the training pitches, and the Strikers had to use that. In kind of their down years, they had to use some of those fields back there. So we've seen soccer there as well. And they used to also host at that baseball field. They used to also have Major League Baseball Legends games there, where you tried out all the old guys, all the old Yankees and things like that would come out and play a game there every year.
Yep, absolutely. And I remember and their minor league team was there too at the time. The Fort Lauderdale Yankees, which was their spring training home and the minor league home until they moved everything to Tampa. So I remember going there one time and meeting, I think Carter Krishnaiyer, met him there when it was Miami FC before they became the Fort Lauderdale Strikers again. And I was there when they were doing a friendly against the New York Rebels, and Thierry Henry was in that stadium when he scored that opening goal so fast, so quick. It was crazy.
Yeah. Good memories there.
Yep, really is. But Now it's time to make more memories with this Inter Miami team. You're hosting New York City FC for the conference finals in the East. You watched them against the Union, obviously. You probably saw their highlights.
Mm-hmm.
What worries you about this game? But at the same time, what gives you confidence about this game that Miami will go to MLS Cup?
There's not a lot that worries me about them. I know that, sure, they could beat a quality team like Philadelphia, but I don't know. I didn't think Philadelphia was going to go to the cup anyways. I kind of believe in this whole supporter shield curse a little bit. It just doesn't. It's very rare that you win both. It does happen, but it's rare. And so I'm not overly scared of New York, other than I'm more scared that we slip up, and because our defense didn't just magically get better. Sure, it's better when Suarez is not playing because we've got more people defending. Even Messi defended, but I'm more afraid of just us kind of look. There's a couple of times that Cincinnati could have scored on us, so things were slightly, if the ball rolled slightly different, it would have been a very different game. So that's more so what I'm saying. I'm scared that we go into this game overconfident, because right now I'm feeling overconfident, but I hope the players aren't feeling overconfident. I could be cocky as a fan, but they damn well better not be. And so, because any team in this league can bite anybody any given day. So That's really, I'm just more scared about us, Inter Miami, slipping up than I am any one individual player on New York City.
Mm-hmm. And before I let you go, I'd just like your thoughts, obviously. When Major League Soccer announced they're going to change their competition calendar to the international calendar, what is your personal thoughts on that? And do you think this is a help or a hindrance for Inter Miami for the future after next summer's World Cup?
I mean, it does. I don't think. I mean, it's great for us, I guess. We're playing in the 1,000-degree heat and 200% humidity. It's hot here. So there was actually one or two games this year where I was like a little dehydrated. I was like, "Where's the water? Where's the water?" I was not feeling well, and that does not happen to me very often. I've lived here my whole life. I'm used to it, but it's hot. So the fact that we won't be playing in as many hot months, that obviously we'll still be playing in July and August, and it's plenty hot here. But removing all of June and I think a little bit of May, that helps. And then being able to play games in a cooler weather, I think that helps South Florida as far as just temperature. But as far as being able to get players, I think obviously that's the biggest, the best thing. Imagine when we get a player like a Messi, he had to come in the middle of the season, and luckily it worked, and we won the Leagues Cup that year. And his first minutes on the game on the field for Inter Miami, he scores a beautiful goal. So it worked, but man, would have been better to bring him in the beginning of the season and let him get a preseason and get acclimated with his team. And so being able to be aligned with the transfer windows across with Europe, I think that's so beneficial especially for a club that's hungry, like an Inter Miami, that's willing to spend and go after the big name players. It's just made it a little bit easier. It's still MLS, and so it's still going to be challenging, but it's made it a little bit easier. And the timing of bringing those players in, I think, is so important. I don't know. I honestly don't understand why so many people that are up north are upset, because to me it looks like it's just maybe a couple of extra games that's potentially in the snow. You could deal with that, right? I mean,
we can deal with that.
I'm gonna have a buddy of mine from Minnesota come on our show and just tell me I'm crazy. A couple of Miami guys that don't understand the cold. I've only, in all honesty, I've seen the snow once in my 56 years of life. I don't know anything about the cold. So
I'll join you if you want, because I'm used to the cold, even though I'm down here now with you. But I'm used to the cold. It's not a big deal. But look, others want to make a big deal about it. I think they're a bit of a negative Nancy. That's all it is. It's a business move.
Business move. They obviously looked at it. Okay, sure, it may hurt some ticket sales in places like Minnesota and Toronto and Vancouver, maybe, but the greater good far outweighs those few games that it's going to hurt ticket sales.
Exactly.
So Every general manager that I saw quotes from or saw interviews with, and one of them was a long interview I saw with the general manager from Cincinnati. It gets cold there too, and they were down with it. They were super excited with it. So it's purely a business move, and it's good for the MLS as a business.
Yep, it really, really is. Peter, as always, I appreciate your time. Thank you for joining me tonight. Good luck in the conference final, and hopefully we're going to see this Miami team hosting MLS Cup. We'll wait and see. Thank you for your time
Hopefully.
again.
All right, thanks, Daniel. See you.
All right, thank you. See you later. That's Peter Brown from Futbol Miami TV talking about Inter Miami as they once again defeat FC Cincinnati at TQL Stadium by a final of 4-0. And of course, the other opponent they'll be facing is New York City FC as they defeated the Supporters Shield champions in the Philadelphia Union by a final of 1-0. And once again, not much really. It's just a Maxi Morales goal that did the job. And other than that, nothing else happened. Now, the one thing I have to say is this, is that we all know what happened to Alonso Martinez during the final 2 matches of international competition for the final round of World Cup qualifying in CONCACAF. He hurt his knee, but we still don't know the severity of the injury. And they're not saying anything. We're not being told. Local New York media is not being told. It's all it is a knee injury. Well, how severe is it? It's just a knee injury. How bad of a knee injury is it? Well, it's just a knee injury. No. You got to let us know, NYCFC, how bad that knee injury is. Is it a meniscus tear? Is it an ACL tear? Is it strained? Is it an MCL tear? We need to understand, we need to know how bad that knee injury is to Alonso Martinez. You cannot hide this from the league, nor from the fans, nor from the media any longer. And I implore, I actually am asking the league, either make them inform us of what the knee injury is and what level of the injury it is, or fine them and fine them heavily. Personally, I think, me personally, what I would like to see, I would like to see them, start the match down a man automatically, but that's not going to happen. And we all know that. But still, though, this is getting ridiculous. This is getting silly. I don't understand why we cannot have NYCFC inform us how severe or how not severe Alonso Martinez's injury is. We must find out. We must be told. And once we're told, everything will be fine. Everything will be okay. Just tell us. But until then, we'll never know. We'll never know. And it's difficult. But all I can say is this. New York City FC, they did enough to, put pressure on Philadelphia Union to put them in a position where they cannot do anything. And once again, as great as Andre Blake is, and as great of a goalkeeper he has been for the Union, I think it's kind of telling how Matt Freese, who probably should have been the heir apparent in net for the Union, has done a magnificent job as the starting goalkeeper for New York City FC. And that's why Matt Freese will be on the U.S. men's national team for the World Cup. I think he has cemented the starting position for the men's national team. and he'll definitely be the starting goalkeeper for the World Cup when it comes. Look, you have to be honest with yourself, and you have to say Matt Freese has been unbelievable. He's been fantastic in goal, and even he plays a strong game in his net. His positioning has also been very good. But I will say this: how he stops penalties in the shootout has also been awesome. Reading where the ball is coming and where the ball could be shot at is extremely big for a goalkeeper. It is, without a doubt, a very, very important position on the field, on the pitch. And Matt Freese has been doing an excellent job of it. Without a doubt, he really should be considered top goalkeeper of the year, in my opinion. But once again, Andre Blake, I don't know how old he is, but I'm also assuming that he's getting up there. And of course, don't forget, he's coming back from a scoreless draw where Jamaica did not qualify directly to the World Cup when they played Curacao. Curacao is in the World Cup. Jamaica is in the playoff. So right then and there, that is why you're seeing how good Matt Freese is. And maybe lingering effects of that scoreless draw to Curacao at Independence Park in Kingston at the office probably is still haunting Andre Blake. But he did put on a very good clinic of goalkeeping, without a doubt. And here's the other thing, too, we also have to understand. Excuse me. It's amazing when he is right and he is able to make a run to stop a potential goal by running his backside off, get to the ball just before it crosses the line, taps it away, and it goes over the end line. It is unbelievable what he is able to do. And I just got to say, to me, he's still one of the top goalkeepers in this league. And he is still one of the best goalkeepers that we have ever seen since this league got started in 1996. Well, let's go ahead and bring in my next guest. He's all the way in the Pacific Northwest. And they're going crazy. They're going Mueller crazy. And it's just been unbelievable what that man has done to the city of Vancouver. From away from the numbers over in British Columbia province, in Vancouver, over in Canada, it is the one and only Michael McCool. Michael, welcome back. How are you, my friend? It's been a long time.
Yeah, it has. Evening, Daniel. Nice to chat to you again. Maybe, if things work out, might be seeing you in a couple of weeks again.
Well, I hope so. We'll take a look and see what happens. First things first, before we get to the Vancouver situation, are you praying for some tartans to play in Vancouver for the World Cup?
Oh, yes. I've been lucky in that I got into the Visa lottery for World Cup tickets. So I helped a friend out by buying a Canada pack. So then a friend of a friend helped me out by getting me some Scotland tickets. So I've got tickets to all the Scotland group games. If I'm not there as media, I'll be there in the stands as a supporter. So no matter what, I'm seeing Scotland at the World Cup. And it would be wonderful to have it in Vancouver. Even the group that's in Seattle and LA would work as well. So just being there and getting to see Scotland at a World Cup will be amazing. I've been to one World Cup. It was in 1994 and Scotland went there. So this is my chance to see them.
Oh, that's right. I hope you brought your kilt. I want to see a picture of you in your kilt. I want to take a look. I want to embrace the fanaticism of Scottish football and Scottish football fans, obviously. But now let's move on. Ever since Thomas Mueller has signed with the Whitecaps, landing at Vancouver International Airport, going and meeting the people, going to the press conference, going to BC Place. What in the hell has happened to that city? And is it bigger than the Canucks?
Oh, see, there's a loaded question because personally, I think yes, because I'm not a hockey fan. And the hockey team I do follow is not in Vancouver. So I won't say who it is because then everyone will get on me for that. But I think the buzz in the city just now is way bigger for the Whitecaps than it is for the Canucks. Now, if the Canucks get into the playoffs come April, then obviously the city goes Canucks crazy, hockey crazy. All the written press, all the TV, all the radio, it's still Canucks, Canucks, Canucks. If a player stubs his toe, that's a big news story for like 2 days here. So that's what the Whitecaps have always been up against. But Thomas Mueller has come in, and it's kind of everything's come together at once. He's come in, he's created a buzz. The team is having the best season they've ever had, so that's created the buzz. They're playing some of the best football that they've played in their whole MLS era for sure. And I can't speak fully about best football from before that, but everything's come together at the right time. They've gone deep. They've captured the imagination. There's not a lot else happening just now in the city. They're selling out BC Place. They're getting people talking about the team. That you can just walk down the street, and if you're wearing any Whitecaps gear at all, suddenly you'll end up in a conversation about the Whitecaps. It is wonderful. Thomas Mueller has had a big part to play in that, but he's definitely not the only reason.
No, absolutely not. But still, though, I think Sorensen has done an excellent job with the Whitecaps since taking over for Varney Sammartini. I mean, honestly, he is the reason why Vancouver has made that run in the Champions Cup to the final. He's also the reason why they've been so good all season long. And just bringing over Thomas Mueller is just, I would say the cherry on the top of the cake. They have been, without a doubt, the biggest surprise of the league this year. And then the question is, depending how deep they go, can they basically ride this into next season, into the World Cup, and after the World Cup?
That is a big question because, like, going into this season, before Jesper Sorensen was appointed, you looked at players that had been added around the league to all the teams, and there was a genuine fear that the Whitecaps maybe hadn't strengthened as much as the other teams in the West have. Then it all kind of started to come together with the signings in late January and into February. And then because of all the injuries throughout the year, every single player to a man, way down the depth chart, has contributed. Now, again, is that lightning in a bottle and everything's come together for one perfect season? Can they continue it? I think they can, but I also think then when you've had a season like this, it's hard to keep hold of your top players. And Sebastian Berhalter has had his breakout season. You all know it. If you're an American fan, you all know what he's been doing for the national team now as well. Thomas Mueller and him are like best buds. It's a bromance. And you're not telling me that Thomas Mueller isn't speaking to people over in Germany saying, hey, you need to go and have a look at this guy. He's got what it takes to go and play in something like the Bundesliga. So can the Whitecaps keep this team together? Because also, the more successful they are, if they win MLS Cup, then salaries go up as well. And then you're having to fit everything into the salary cap. And there's all the bonuses and the guarantees that come with that. So it's going to be hard to keep the whole group together. There will be changes, but there's nothing right now to say that they can't. The rest of the West will strengthen. Some of the big teams that have not had good years, and you look at LA Galaxy, for example, LAFC, they're now going to want to add another piece to help with Sun and Buanga and everything like that. So other teams will strengthen, and it's do they strengthen more than the Whitecaps keep together? There'll be some new additions here, but there will also be departures. I feel it's inevitable.
Yeah, I agree. We'll see what happens down the road, but let's recap that big matchup in the conference semifinals against LAFC. I mean, I was amazed at the 2 goals that Vancouver scored in the first half. I mean, that was a beautiful distribution from Yohei Takaoka to Emmanuel Sabi. I mean, I was like, are you kidding me? He just delivered that beauty of a ball, and Sabi just beats Hugo Lloris like it's nothing. Wow.
Yeah, they've worked on that all year in training, and it's not been executed, or they've not felt that was the moment to do it. This was the moment. Yohei Takaoka spoke to our good friend Har Jahal after the match and had said, yeah, I just saw this was the opportunity to go for it because they knew the speed that Sabi's got. And that's one of the big things for the Whitecaps. You've got Sabi, Nelson, Ali Ahmed, Kenji Cabrera, Ryan Gauld. They're all speedy guys. So whoever is there, they can execute that play. And if any team switches off for a minute, which LA did on that play, they'll be punished. And I mean, Lloris, if he hadn't come out as quickly as he did, I don't know that it ends the same way. But Lloris was like, I need to commit myself here. And the finish from Sabi, he still had so much work to do. And he was just cool and calm. And I spoke to him on Thursday last week before the game. And I said, you're in the best form of your season right now. Do you feel that? And he's like, yeah, I do. And you saw it there. They kept him so quiet in the first half. LA clearly saw that as well. And they had kind of marked him out of the game. But it just shows you all those guys, one instant, they can just explode and cause damage.
Exactly. Amazing. And then in first half stoppage time, Mateus Laborda, big goal to make it 2-0 at half. He was at the right place at the right time to bury that chance. And boy, everyone at BC Place went nuts. Absolutely nuts. It was beautiful to watch.
It was a magical moment. And it was the first time in the match I felt, I can relax a little bit. Now, it didn't last long. I got maybe a good half hour of relaxation before the stress came back into the game. But Matty Laborde has done this all year. And he joked after the game, he was like, I'm always there to clean up the garbage. He's a key piece on set pieces for them as well. A lot of Sebastian Berhalter's corners, he's either looking for the head of Thomas Muller or he's looking for the head of Matty Laborde. But Laborde is also there for these knockdowns. And he's a very underrated player in this Whitecaps side. He was brought in as a centre-back, maybe a right-back, and all this season on the whole, he's played as a left-back. Now, This coming Saturday, I think we might be seeing him as a centre-back, but that's a whole other discussion that we might have. But he's like a Swiss Army knife at the back line. And he loves to get forward and he loves to score goals. And definitely one of the unsung heroes this year for the Whitecaps.
Nope, really is. And look, we don't have to talk much about Sun. He is just as advertised. He's unbelievable. And I mean, that first goal to pull one back in the hour mark was tremendous. Look, you've watched enough Premier League matches at Tottenham to see what he's capable of doing. Whenever you're able to catch any Asian football internationally with South Korea, he's been tremendous there too, internationally. But that free kick in second half stoppage time, and I believe that came after the red card to Tristan Blackman. I mean, how he bent that sucker. I swear to God, I could not. I thought at first I'm thinking to myself that's like a Messi shot, but no, it's him. It's Son. Why even think about Messi? Son is just as good.
I've got to say, I think, and obviously there's recency bias, and I'm old now and my memory's not as good, but I don't remember seeing in person a better free kick than that.
Oh, yeah.
And because of where the press box is now at BC Place, because they're doing renovations,
Mhm.
I was basically behind the other goal. So I watched it from the minute it left his foot. And as soon as it left his foot, I was like, oh, that's in. You knew it right away. And he is a difference maker. That's why
Yeah.
they brought him in. That's why they paid the big money for him. He
Yeah.
is a world-class player. And next season, oh, woe betide any team that does not mark him properly in a game. Because I think he has the potential to be Golden Boot winner next year.
Oh,
It is going to
oh,
be
yeah.
probably between him and Messi. But
Mhm.
the problem that LAFC have, and what they've had in the last few weeks, is if Buanga and Son aren't scoring for them, no one else seems to be scoring for them.
No.
And maybe that played into the fact that they couldn't convert the chances that they had, because they certainly had them. But yeah, the free kick came about because of Tristan Blackman sending off. And in the one hand, it's a harsh second yellow to get, but I can see why the referee would give it. If Tristan Blackman hadn't gone in to Buanga, like Buanga knows what he's doing. He knocks the ball to one side, he goes the other. Buanga's never getting onto the ball. Tristan just needs to stand where he was because Buanga runs into him. But the problem is Tristan gave it the shoulder, and as
Yeah.
soon as he made any movement, it's a yellow card. So I
Mhm.
couldn't complain with that. The Whitecaps aren't appealing it because they know they're not going to win it. And when the goal went in, I'll be honest, like all year, I felt no matter if the Whitecaps are 1 down, 2 down, I feel they can get back into the game. I
Yeah.
felt it was match over at that point. As soon as they tied it up, I was like, there's no way we're holding on in extra time. And then when we go down to 9 men in extra time, I was just sitting back in my seat in the press box, just waiting for the inevitable. But it didn't come. And what that does to a team's belief is like stratospheric now.
Yeah, it really was. And then you get to the shootout, and LAFC goes first, and you're thinking, well, Son's going to easily do it, and he nails the crossbar. How the hell does he nail the crossbar? And, what was it? Combination of relief and excitement at the same time from the BC crowd?
Yes. And like, I know you're not meant to cheer in press boxes. That's the standard thing. The press box at BC Place exploded at that miss as well. I've got to be honest. And quiet, like just people fist pumping and stuff. Now, you'd put all your money on him scoring. And they went with their big two in their first two kicks. Now, Son afterwards said, and you saw it during the end of extra time, he was cramping up. Now,
Mm,
that will be because of the travel that he had to Korea and back, short turnaround. When you're tired like that BC Place turf is like brutal on the
yeah.
body.
Hmm.
So he was cramping up, and he said as soon as he went to take the kick, he felt the cramp again, and that was why he missed. Now, you
Hmm.
could say, oh, you're making an excuse. I don't think he is. I think that is the genuine reason why he missed.
Yes,
Then I have to question, if you know you've got cramp, why are you sending him out first?
exactly.
Save him until even 4 or 5, because you might not need him,
Hmm.
or save him till the 6th one.
Yep.
But it was a bad choice, I think, to send him up if he had anything wrong with him at all. And as soon as again, in all honesty, as soon as the final whistle went at the end of the 120 minutes, or 124 as it was, I thought, right, it swung back to the Whitecaps. They're going to win it now. And as soon as that first penalty was missed, I was like, yeah, that's it. We are
Hmm.
going to the final. And it wasn't all smooth sailing,
No,
but Marky Delgado's penalty was absolutely horrible.
it
I think
was.
it looked like he was going for the Panenka, and then just before he kicked it, had a change of thought, and then just did not connect and whatever. If that was an attempted Panenka, then it was dreadful. And you shouldn't be doing a Panenka in a penalty shootout anyway.
Nope.
That's
No, you
selfish.
shouldn't. Yep. Nope.
Even if our guys did it, I'd be piling on them for that.
Absolutely. I
You-
would be. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I would do the same thing.
Yeah. Go down the middle, fine. but put some force in it. Don't try the little dink.
Yep, exactly. I remember, what was it, this past Open Cup 5th rounder, FC Dallas played the Red Bulls in a penalty kick shootout in the Open Cup, and Lucho Acosta was the first one to go for Dallas, and he Panenka'd off the crossbar and out. Yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
I mean, you've got to just go for power. Keepers these days, they do so much research, and it is still a lottery as well. But the
Yes.
advantage is always with the taker. And if you're going to try something like that, I mean, don't start me on stutter steps, because I can be here all night saying that they should be outlawed. But it's just, in a normal game, if you're up by a couple, if you want to try Panenka, fine. I always remember when Zlatan was with the Galaxy, they came here to BC Place. The Whitecaps got an early penalty. Our Iraq international Ali Adnan stepped up, and I think he was like, "Oh, I'll show that I'm like fancy like Zlatan." Went for the Panenka. It was horrible, and then we lost the game.
Yep.
Whereas that goal in the first couple of minutes would have set a whole different tone. So I'm never a fan of it. And when it works out, you look amazing, and look at his chutzpah and everything, but nah.
That's why, when it comes to corners, I hate short corners. I hate them. It just, what are you going to try and do? What, you're just going to not go long and you're going to go short, and then you're going to try and cross it later? No, just do it.
Well, I agree, but not with the Whitecaps, because Sebastian Berhalter is excellent at short corners.
Oh, okay.
If you've got a guy like him that can send in those pinpoint deliveries, he needs a little bit away from the corner to really get his curl on. And I'm with you otherwise. I don't like short corners. Just get it in the box, see what chaos you can bring. But Sebastian Berhalter has been excellent in the short corners. Now, we don't do it all the time.
Right.
But it's something to watch for him, that they will look to do that. But on the whole, get it in the box.
That's it. Just get it in the box. That's all you got to do. And of course, Laporta gets the winning penalty, wins it 4-3 in the shootout after a 2-2 draw through regulation and extra time. And you're off to sunny San Diego to take on San Diego FC.
Yeah.
Now, what concerns do you have with San Diego FC? But at the same time, what confidence do you have of the Whitecaps they can pull that result?
I know folk will look at the two meetings this year, and you'll see the hammering that the Whitecaps took at BC Place, and you're thinking, well, this San Diego attack can really cause the Whitecaps issues. That was during the Gold Cup, and we were missing 5 players, and players to injury as well. So that is an outlier. Eloski had his game of his life, and he's not there anymore. I think you can look at the second game down there, and it was 1-1. Whitecaps took the lead, and then San Diego turned up the heat. So my concern is more on a Whitecaps side, because defensively we're beaten up. We lost Bilal Halbouni in second half of extra time, and although it's not confirmed, we know it's definitely a knee injury, but everything we're hearing is that it's an ACL, which for him is brutal, because it's his second ACL injury in the same knee at 25, and he was just distraught. And he's unlikely to hear this, but all my love and thoughts go to Billy, because he's been a great player. He's come in when Ranko Veselinovic went down, and him and Tristan Blackman were a rock towards the end of the season. So now he's out. Blackman's just back, but now he's suspended. And he was struggling a little bit anyway, coming into the later stages of the game, because it was his first game back in, I think, 6 weeks. So now it's a completely makeshift centre-back pairing. Matty Laborda will probably be there with Ralph Priso, who has converted to the centre-back role amazingly. But then we also have our 2 signings that we brought in the summer, who have both been injured and haven't played as well. So Jodrik Pupa, who a Belgian centre-back, he's the one that might be a dark horse to come in here. If not, it's going to be Laborda, Priso, Ocampo on one wing, Tate Johnson on the left. I think that's what everyone's expecting. Jesper Sorensen did say today, though, oh, you haven't seen everything that we've got so far, and that he did learn some things from watching how Minnesota played against San Diego. Not that they're going to go full on Minnesota and defend with like 8 players behind the ball, but that's my big concern. How does that defense handle what is such a dangerous San Diego attack? But you saw what Minnesota did to them. 1 shot on target in the whole game. Now, yes, it was a crucial shot that San Diego got, and it went in the back of the net, and it was a rocket, and it was set up by a beautiful little back flick. Now, if the Whitecaps can negate that attack and like just get Dreyer out the game, which they're very good at getting these big players marked out of the game, then I'm a lot more confident. What Vancouver's got in their favour is we have such a potent attack. Now, you know Ali Ahmed and Emmanuel Sabe are going to run at you. Knowing that and stopping that is 2 different things. First goal is massive, as it is in pretty much most games. But in this one, it feels in particular, both teams like to have the ball. But I just have a sneaking feeling that we're going to be more, let's give San Diego the ball more than we would usually give San Diego the ball, and kind of just rely on the transition play and get these fast wingers in. It's going to be a tight one. It's not going to be a blowout. I can see it being a single goal game. I think it's 2 very evenly matched teams. I was speaking to Sasha Klestion just this afternoon. We did a call with him, and he feels Vancouver's just got the edge, and I do as well.
Fantastic. Before we finish up here, I've noticed an article through Google about the Whitecaps stadium situation. Obviously, at the end of this season, there's no new deal to be a BC place. Don Garber is working hard to make sure the Whitecaps, at least for the time being, remains a BC place until they build a brand new stadium. Hopefully it will happen. We'll wait and see what happens there. But, honestly, reading the article, and as much as, I understand why Don Garber tries to make sure that the league is profitable and there's plenty of eyes on the football here in North America, both in Canada and the US. But when I saw him do a mea culpa about he didn't do a good enough job to concentrate on the most important need that the Whitecaps needed, was actually building their own stadium or their stadium situation, that really made me upset, and that really made me mad. Not just because it's, it's a league situation, but, I talk to you. There's so many dedicated Canadian soccer fans in the city of Vancouver. They love their Whitecaps. They have supported this club from the early days of the A-League up till in USL, USISL, and now into MLS. And for me, it's a dereliction of duty as commissioner of MLS. You can't do that. You can't just, ignore what goes on in Vancouver. You got to take care of everything, not just on the U.S. side of the border, but on the Canadian side of the border too.
I mean, anyone that's been on any calls with Don Garber and the State of the League stuff for the last few years, every year there's questions about New York Stadium. And you've seen how long it's taken them to get it done. Now, there's been things in the work in Vancouver for years. The primary owner, Greg Kerfoot, wanted to build a stadium with his own money on his own land.
Exactly.
And it got voted down because the folk in the area didn't want all that traffic coming in. It was the whole NIMBY stuff, and then it died. And he's tried to get it going, and it hasn't worked. And what I will say about Don Garber is he has the Whitecaps back, and he's fighting for them. And he came up here and he had his round table, and he's met with the mayor, and he's met with the federal government, or provincial government. I don't think he met with the federal government. He was with Victor Montagliani. So he's doing all the right things, and he's pushing hard. It's not been announced, but the Whitecaps will be at BC Place next season. They've signed a lease. It's all good. So
thank goodness. Okay,
but I don't know if that's a 1-year deal and they're still thrashing other stuff out, or if it's a 3 or a 5 year deal. It's going to be a short-term thing. the problem is a new stadium is going to be it's 3 years in the making.
Yeah.
And where they want to build it, there's issues because of who currently owns it. When that right expires, First Nations feel that they have a say in the land as well, and that's a delicate subject that folk don't want to talk about for obvious reasons, but it needs to be talked about for obvious reasons as well. And we've done it on our show. We're not afraid to broach a delicate subject. And it's all the parties have to come together. The worry for me is right now, the mayor of Vancouver, totally behind the Whitecaps, wants the stadium deal done. He's not a very popular mayor, and I don't see him getting re-elected in September. If they can't sign all the paperwork by September, the mayor that comes in is not going to be so Whitecaps friendly, I fear, and it's going to be a tougher, longer road ahead.
I think what needs to happen is, look, whether or not the current mayor does get reelected, and this is for September 2026, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think, if the current mayor does not get reelected, I think he needs to make a phone call with the mayor-elect and say to him, listen, congratulations, you beat me fair and square, but listen, we need to make a conversation here. And this is very important, not just for the city, and it's not just for the fans of the Whitecaps, but it's for Canadian soccer as a whole. Because even now, if the current mayor does not get reelected, he has to be invited to a World Cup match, whether it involves Canada, whether it involves anyone else. Yeah. No, I'm being serious.
No, but he will be there. But the problem is, without getting into all the politics, the most likely mayors that are going to take over are going to be very left-leaning, green, wanting that money spent not on a football team.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the big challenge the Whitecaps are going to face. Now, it's not undoable, because part of the plan is they want to have housing. They want to have entertainment. They want to have restaurants. So I think in terms of the First Nation situation, right now, they have the rights to a casino on the land that is there and operating. So I think you can easily say to them, look, you can have a bigger casino. That can be your part of this deal. And then to the city, I'm hoping they'll say, look, we can have some like below market pricing rental accommodations by the stadium, because there's a dire need here, as I'm sure all over in the States, for cheaper rental accommodation. So I think there's ways around it, but it just means it's a longer road ahead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, absolutely. And we'll see what happens there. You could also, and I'm assuming there's also public transportation nearby. I know you have public transit.
That's the problem. The site they want is one of the worst areas in the city in terms. There's buses,
right?
But there's no SkyTrain, and it's accessible. And for me, it's a 20-minute walk from my house, so I love it. But they don't take that.
Everybody, move to Michael's house if you're in Vancouver. Yeah. Move to Michael's house.
So enough folk want to stay here when the World Cup's on. I think I've offered it to too many people.
Yeah, we can. The noise complaints all over the place. No, we can't have that, Michael. But but still, though, like I said, look, I hope it works. I hope something will come to fruition, and the Whitecaps, BC Place is nice. It's just a temporary fix, just for once. Not just for the Whitecaps, not just for everyone in Vancouver, but for Canadian soccer as a whole. That has to be, the number one thing that has to happen. Obviously, BMO is perfect, Stade Saputo is perfect, but now we got the Whitecaps need to build their own team. But at the same time, there's also the Canadian Championship tournament that happens. You got possibly, one day, maybe another club in Vancouver joins the Canadian Premier League. You never know.
Well, the new stadium would see the women's team Vancouver Rise play outfit as well, and Whitecaps too. So it would be used for a lot of stuff. And then you can attract better players, gets a grass pitch. Because despite Hugo Lloris's whininess about the BC Place pitch after the game on Saturday, he's 100% correct. It's a terrible, terrible surface.
It is.
That's not why they lost. And he's played there 4 times before that and had no issues. But it's needed, and I think it will come. And all the Whitecaps need to do just now is get it over the line, get a better deal at BC Place, because they don't get the money off concessions and stuff that they want.
Yeah.
And the big thing for Don Garber and the club is they want a better pick of the dates, because as of right now, if the Whitecaps make another big run to the CONCACAF Champions Cup, if they are in the semi-final and at home in the second leg, they can't host it.
Yep.
If they were hosting the final, they can't host it because FIFA's taking the stadium on for the World Cup.
Exactly.
So there's those kind of issues for that. And we've seen them having to move games like the Portland game. We've had to play Tigres in Vancouver Island. And so that's the big thing short term.
Mm-hmm.
Long term's the stadium. I'm confident they'll get it done. The team's not going anywhere. No one needs to worry.
Good.
And it's all coming up Whitecaps right now.
Great. That's fantastic. And one more thing before I let you go. How great is it to have both the Whitecaps and Vancouver FC of the Premier League going to the Champions Cup? I was surprised that they actually qualified for it, because of the Whitecaps is already qualifying for it through an MLS channel.
Yeah, it was a new qualification thing that Canada Soccer brought out this year, that whoever lost the final would get the spot if the winners were in via another way. Now, Vancouver FC, it's great that they're there. I hope they do well. They just had the joint worst record in CPL history in league play.
Yep.
But this will help them get better players for next year. They're about to announce the permanent addition of their head coach, Martin Nash. So it's great because we've got 2 Vancouver teams in. They could be drawn against each other because they'll be classed, even though they're both from Canada, because they're from different leagues.
Yes.
They could meet. But I think they'll be 2 and done. Like they'll be out after their first game. But it's a great experience for them. It puts the club on the map, and I hope everyone gets out and cheers them on for the home game, whoever it is.
Handing the runners-up of the Canadian Championship a CONCACAF Champions Cup place. Where have I heard that before? Oh, yes, I wrote it. That's right. I wrote an article on Beyond the 90. Yes, I wrote an article on Beyond the 90 where getting rid of the Leagues Cup issue, that they should give the runners-up of the Canadian Championship a CONCACAF Champions Cup spot, the runner-up of the U.S. Open Cup match, the final match, also a spot, and at the time Mexico had the Copa MX, give the winner a spot. Because that's how you eliminate Leagues Cup, and you actually make it more fair, and at the same time more competition friendly, because natural order of the game, you actually make a final, but you didn't win the championship, but you'll go in that sense. It's like it's like when you watch the Premier League. Obviously, Premier League champion goes ahead. Whoever finishes second, third, or fourth in their league, they go to the Champions League in Europe, something like that.
Yeah,
I wrote that.
The only thing I would say from Vancouver FC, and I don't want to take too much away from them, because a win's a win, whether it's in penalties or not.
Correct.
But in their run to being losing finalists, they only actually won one of the matches that they played. Over 90 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's like they won penalty shootout. So I could see an argument, well, the team that's in the Leagues Cup that's gone all the way to the final deserves it more than a runner-up in a cup competition. but I've got my own issues with the Leagues Cup, so we won't go into that just now because we'll be here all night.
Nope. It's better to leave that unsaid, or else we'll be here all night. And I don't want to waste. You have a night ahead of you. I have a night that's currently going on right now. But other than that, Michael, as always, I always appreciate your time. I hope to see you down here if it does happen again.
So do I.
And we want to go back to Giorgio's, or you want to go somewhere else?
I like Giorgio's. It was fun. It was nice. I enjoyed like Hollywood Beach, which is where I chose to stay the last time. I loved it. It was a great little area.
Yeah, it really was. I'm glad I suggested that for you and Har to get over there.
Yeah.
I mean, they got anything and everything over there. It's great. Their grilled chicken's great. Their burgers are great. They even have steamed mussels.
Oh, I love mussels because.
Oh well, it's a big appetizer, but it's definitely worth it for one. Steamed mussels and an orange tomatoey garlic broth.
I mean, that just sounds wonderful.
So we'll come on over.
we just need a win on Saturday, and then I'll definitely be there. I won't be there on Saturday by the looks of it because it's Thanksgiving weekend and the flights are horrendous.
Oh, I know. It's terrible. But, if
fans are heading down. I've already spent a lot of money going to Mexico and watched the Whitecaps lose a cup final. So I thought, I don't know that I can justify that again. Now if we win it, I'll have FOMO and I'll be really gutted. But we'll see. I might change my mind at the last minute and book something.
There you go. Good to hear. Michael, as always, I appreciate your time. You have a good night, my friend. Good luck in the conference finals against San Diego, and hopefully you get a trip down to San Diego soon.
That's great. Thanks so much, Daniel, and we'll talk soon.
Yep, we'll talk soon. Michael McCool away from the numbers over in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, as he talks about those Whitecaps. They do it again. They're going to the conference finals to take on San Diego FC. And real quick, it was only one goal that does it against Minnesota United FC. Andreas Dreyer does it again. Their cowbell goal scorer, 72nd minute. And they bury the shot 1-0 after Minnesota tried their best to bunker in with 8 defending. But once again, it just wasn't enough. It just wasn't good enough. And they went out, unfortunately, Minnesota United, and everything just fell apart. But, we'll see what they do for next season. But once again, it's going to be Inter Miami, hosting New York City FC in the Eastern Conference Final. San Diego FC hosting the Vancouver Whitecaps in the Western Conference Final. And depending on who wins the match, their respective matches, I should say, if it's Inter Miami, they will host the final. If New York City FC beats Miami, they'll travel to either Vancouver or to San Diego. So it's either Vancouver in the Pacific Northwest, or it's sunny Southern California if NYCFC advances to the final. If not, whoever wins the West heads on down to South Beach to take on Inter Miami. So it's going to be exciting. It's going to be a lot of fun. Cannot wait to see what's going to happen. Join me tomorrow night here on the Feuerstein's Fire American Soccer Show as my colleague at Beyond the 90, Carter Krishnar, will join me as we will recap all 3 groups of the final round of qualifying in CONCACAF to make it to the FIFA World Cup. I want to thank my guests tonight. I want to thank Pieter Brown from Futbol Miami TV, and I also want to thank Michael McCool from Away from the Numbers over in Vancouver, British Columbia. My name is Daniel Feuerstein. Thank you very much for joining me tonight. I hope all of you had enjoyed the show. You could always, once again, subscribe to the show if you want to hear exciting American soccer talk. It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. Cannot wait. Once again, my name is Daniel Feuerstein. Thank you very much for watching me tonight. And as always, please, 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 please enjoy your football. Thank you. Take care. So long. And have a good night. And bye-bye for now. Have a good night, everybody.